Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Making Finance Fun podcast. My name is Neil, and I'd like to welcome you to my wonderful co-host, Clive. Hello, Clive.
Good morning, Neil, and a big good morning to all the viewers, and thank you very much for tuning in live. We've got an exciting topic to look at today. We're going to be looking at how modern accountants can help clients in new ways. So this should be an interesting conversation. So grab a cup of tea, coffee, whatever it is that you like, and join us for this conversation. It should be a good one. But before we get into that, just do a quick introduction in case this is your first time of who we are. My name is Clive Hand, and I'm the owner of Bluestone Accounting, an online digital accounting business based here in Ireland. My co-host Neil. Neil, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Neil. My accountancy firm is called NDC. We are based just outside Bristol in the wonderful seaside town of Weston-super-Mare. And we've been going since January 2020, so about 4.5 years now.
Cool. And Neil and I decided to come together to talk about all things accounting, business, and just have a bit of fun around finance fun. So that's why we have Making Finance Fun, your bi-weekly podcast. So, Neil, just to kick off, I suppose, let's figure out and find out what's new and what's happening with you. Any updates your end over the last couple of weeks?
Not really. It's been half term for us. I think your kids are still at school this week, aren't they? Whereas it's been half term for us this week. So it's been a combination of we had a bank holiday on the Monday, and then kids have been off. This afternoon I'm meant to be taking a bit of time out, but I've also got 2 members of the team on holiday, so I've been covering payroll submissions for a few of them. So it's been a bit here and there, to be honest.
Nice. And you finished up your 30-day video challenge, I see, yesterday as well.
I did. I finished up my 30-day video challenge yesterday, being that it was day 30. My wife couldn't really understand why I wasn't doing the full month, and I said, well, that would be a 31 video day challenge, wouldn't it? And I think it twigged at that point. So yeah, all 30 days. You can catch it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram and TikTok. I've plastered it across Tinternet. It's everywhere, and I've even added subtitles to most of it as well. So you'd have to hear my really annoying voice. But it was good fun to do. It was the 7th one that I've done, and yeah, we were in Portugal at the beginning of the month, and we've been fortunate to sign. I think we signed 5 or 6 new clients. I've been traveling a lot. I've been doing bits and pieces, a lot of projects internally going on. So yeah, kind of the life and times of an accountancy firm owner, sort of warts and all. It's been good fun to do. Like, I don't get bored of doing it, and a lot of people seem to like watching it for some weird kind of voyeuristic reason. So there you go. That's done now for probably another 6 months or so.
Super. I've piggybacked on that, and I've done a couple myself. And I have to say, feedback is that we really like seeing the humanized person behind the accounting, the name of the business. So it really delivers a lot of impact, and that people are interested in people, so that works really well.
I think
What have
what I
we been
found.
doing?
Sorry to interrupt. I think what I found
Yeah.
is that because I've always been used to doing kind of video content and video stuff, and everybody that kind of sees it says, "Oh, well, that's quite interesting because not many accountants do video stuff." I thought, "Oh, why don't we just do it on steroids and just do it for 30 days in a row?" Some weird idea that I had back in March 2021, which was the first one, and that's it. That's the story.
Yeah, that's super. No, it's really good. It's really always good to get a good insight into the lives of accountants. Maybe it's solicitors. It could be anybody. Just people are interested in people ultimately. So, yeah, it's the same here. Nothing really much wild and wonderful to report over the last couple of weeks. We've just been busy kind of sorting out a few things like shareholder disputes and the importance of having shareholder agreements in place before you decide to go into business with somebody else. So kind of having those protections and measures in place is absolutely key. There's a lot of learnings to take away from it. And it's okay to make mistakes in business. It's a journey, as long as you don't repeat them. That's the key. So I don't know, not much happening this end of things. A bit on the QuickBooks side, though. We are starting to introduce QuickBooks Ledger. Ledger is going to be available for accountants only. I know it's in the UK and the US, and thankfully it's coming to the rest of the world as well. So that means we can get our small clients who don't really need a bookkeeping software, we can still keep them and manage them on QuickBooks itself. QuickBooks Advanced is now available in Ireland, so we're kind of catching up with the rest of the world on that one as well. We're having some initial conversations about having a part two to the QuickBooks Online Roadshow later on in the year. Don't know whether that's going to happen or not, but it's great that the first event went really well. That sparked some interest in having a second one. And then I suppose the last bit of news is that I've now made the top 50 international Pro Advisor listings, and the award ceremony is next month. So anybody who made a vote for me, I really appreciate your support on that. It helps to kind of build what we're trying to achieve here. So every little bit helps. So I really, really appreciate that. Anything else you're in, Neil?
Look at you. Look at you, Mr. Award winner. Actually, on that note, if you did catch my day 30 of my 30-day video challenge, you might have seen that I had a little gift through the post. I had this, which I've got by the side of me. It's bloody massive. Look at that.
It's a slate.
What
are you showing there, Neil?
It's not about what it is, it's about what's written on it. Can you read that? So, for the people that are listening to this audibly, and not seeing the video, I am showing a bit of slate. Yeah, it's a massive, heavy bit of slate, and it's from CEO Monthly, and they've awarded me the most influential CEO of 2024 for the accountancy and budget forecasting section for Somerset.
Woohoo!
There you go. We are joint award winners, my friend.
Absolutely. So you're going to have to clear out your Lego cabinet behind you and replace that with a trophy cabinet at this stage.
Yeah, all of the awards, I sound really privileged and pretentious now, but all of the awards that we've won are in the office. Again, I'm recording the podcast. Most of the time I'll be here in my home office. In my work office is where our awards are sat. So if you're ever on a webinar with me or a call and I'm in the work office, you'll be able to see them there. But yeah, this one will be joining them, joining the family. I think this is number 16 now in the last couple of years. So this is really cool. And forever thankful and forever privileged to have been recognised. It's pretty bloody awesome.
You could put a steak on that and serve it up.
I could, mate. That is something I probably would do.
Pretty impressive, you said. Yeah.
It's an interesting use case for it, for sure.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
really heavy.
Recycled.
Like I'm not joking. It's like it's got a little stand at the back. It's really heavy.
It's definitely different than your normal crystal glass type of awards that one would normally get.
Yes, it is. It is. No, it's very cool. Very cool. One question I did have for you, mate. We're going a little bit sort of nerdy here, but we've just rolled out our new practice management workflow system in the business. Went live with it last Friday, and I know that you're using the same one. And my question to you is: are you using it yet?
Not really. No. So there's so much it can do. It is actually excellent between client management, practice management, client comms, communications, emails. Oh, crikey, there's so much in it. Pricing actually is in there, and proposals is coming now too. So I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that. I have started. I'm using my old friend ChatGPT to help me build the schedules and task lists and whatnot as well. And but I'm really excited to see what it can do, because I can see the comments in the Facebook group and what people are getting out of it. So yeah, you probably see a big change, hopefully, as you start to use it more now.
Like I said, we've been using it for a week. We've got lots of tweaks and things to evolve with it, but really happy with it. It's called Client Engager for those that don't know what we're talking about, and it's been really good. It's got a clean user interface, which some of these systems don't have. We're kind of scratching the surface of what it can do, but I think already we're seeing quite a lot of efficiencies in just like uploading documents and sending emails to clients to notify them that there's a document there in their client portal. And the client portal is on like a phone app as well, so it's a lot different, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I suppose being in Ireland, what you tend to find is you got a lot of UK software providers who are really doing a good job and providing an excellent product to UK users like yourself. We got to take it and we got to turn it into an Irish version. So there's a bit of extra work in that. So if the guys are listening and they're working on an Irish version, I'd happily take that and run with that as well. But I believe there's some interesting features coming along, like Engager Pay, which would be pretty cool, to help streamline the payment end of things as well. So yeah, interesting times ahead for that one, you know. So
Amazing.
let's have a look at what we want to have a chat about today, because I think it's really important to try and distinguish and identify what the difference is between what we call dinosaur accountants or traditional accountants. I don't think it's very fair to call them dinosaur accountants, but I understand why some people do. And modern accountants, I suppose, like ourselves, Neil, a modern accounting business and the type of modern services that we can offer and how we help clients. So I suppose let's have a quick chat about what we mean by traditional accounting services. So I trained in an audit practice, so I consider that a traditional scene, whereby we looked after mainly year-end compliance work, we did audit work, we did tax, we did company secretarial filings, we wore a shirt and tie, we followed a program, a schedules, a checklist, we did all the work. We made sure, from a compliance point of view, we had all our checks and balances and our T's crossed and our dots all on our I's. But the focus was on compliance, first and foremost, always on compliance, unless the client asks for more. And I think that is starting to change somewhat. But Neil, what's your take on what a traditional accounting business looks like at the minute?
Traditional stereotype, I guess, whatever way you want to badge it, and having only been in the industry for, I guess, 4.5 years, I've probably not seen everything that there is to see, but I would say somebody who I would classify as kind of traditional would be somebody that would do work at the year end, so not necessarily doing anything in real time. So it could be, let's not talk about software for the time being, but let's talk about a box of receipts, a box of invoices. Client goes to an accountant, end of the year, here's a year's worth of stuff. And the accountant goes, thank you very much. We've got 9 months to turn that around to make a set of accounts or a tax return or kind of whatever they're doing. They do that within 9 months. They might do that within 8 months, 3 weeks and 5 days. And then they go back to the client and say, okay, here's a set of accounts based on that paperwork, and here's a tax return, or here's a tax return and a tax bill potentially that you've now got to pay in the next week. I think in my mind, that is kind of archaic thinking now, considering the tech and the world that we live in. But I think that's how things always used to be done, and I think for a lot of people that's still the norm.
Yeah, I think I know, especially here in Ireland, and I do see some like disruptors there, including myself. But first and foremost, the traditional approach still is what people know and understand. And there's a whole communication piece about how there's a different type of service within the accounting industry. I also think there's a big opportunity for traditional accounting practices to change their business model and to adapt. To that end, I think it's going to be very important for the business owner of that accounting practice or business to change their mindset on how to do that as well. That is all very possible. But I think the approach of you bring in your box of receipts and your bank statements and having your accountant go through it to see what first of all is missing, like, and then do a schedule of what you need, and then chasing the client to take that back in. And then when you got all your information that you need from the client, you do your working papers, your accounts, you bring in the client. And I remember those conversations, and literally, I've said this before, the sweat on their brow of the fear of, what is my tax bill going to be, and what is your accounting bill going to be? And that should never be a situation where a client has to come into an office without without having first knowledge of what their fees is going to be or tax bill is going to be. Like I remember in practice, now I have to say, the practice I worked in or trained in was top notch. Right, I have a very good relationship with them. The training was excellent, the exposure was excellent, and it was good for the time that it was in. Like, but seeing how things are done now, there's and coming from industry back into practice and see how forward thinking industry is. Because when it comes to traditional accounting, you're looking at historical information. When you're an accountant in industry, you're looking at forward information. Yes, these are the results for last month, but where will we land in 12 months' time? Where will we be in 6 months' time? It's forward looking. I suppose that's where Neil and I, and many more who are starting to take this jump from industry back into practice, are understanding the real importance and value is yes to compliance, but it's where will we be in the future? So there is this shift. There is this shift to modern accounting that's now coming down the tracks.
I mean, I guess it's important to note that there are some things that are done in real time, so like payroll and VAT return, sales tax. But I remember one client we took on probably, I don't know, probably 6 months ago now. He didn't use any software, and he had his accounts and tax return prepared in the way that I just mentioned. But for his VAT returns, every quarter he used to get all of his paperwork, all of his receipts and invoices, shove them in an envelope, post them through Royal Mail to his accountant, who then used to go through the paperwork to prepare the VAT return, to then send him the bill to pay. And I couldn't quite believe it at the time, the fact that not only was it being done really, really late, and he had no idea what that VAT return was before that communication was given to him, but I mean, he was printing out some invoices that were digital, right? So some of the stuff that he had was already digital. So he's printing stuff off, hand receipts, all that kind of jazz in an envelope, and then posting it to the accountant. It was just, yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. There's no value in accounting opening up an envelope and sorting receipts. Absolutely no value whatsoever. You don't go to college or university for 3 years and then spend another 3 years professional exams and training, 6, 7 years in total to open up envelopes and sort out receipts. Absolutely not. So thankfully, we do have this shift now to modern accounting. Okay, so what do we mean by modern accounting beyond the traditional services? What we mean about that is we're using tools, we're using technological tools such as cloud accounting. AI is starting to come more of a feature or tool in there as well. What we're trying to do is deliver a service in a way that's easy for the clients as well. Because ultimately, the client is the key element in the success of delivering these services, right? So, as accountants, right, we understand numbers. We also understand how those numbers are to be pulled and put together. And it's our job to be a communicator and a facilitator and train our clients on how to do that in the most effective and efficient way, both for us so we can deliver that service, but for them so we can give you the value of the numbers and be the storyteller behind that. Okay. So for us here, we're QuickBooks only, QuickBooks Online. People say, "Can you help me with QuickBooks Desktop?" They're like, "I don't know desktop. I don't know it at all." So everybody's on QuickBooks Online. We train everybody on how to set up their own customers, do their sales invoicing, and how to upload their digital receipts. And if they do get a paper receipt, we show them how to use the QuickBooks app and capture that digitally and upload it to QuickBooks, where we take it from there. We connect their bank accounts as well. So we don't need to go out there and request those bank statements every month. So what it means is that we can get to work on your accounts today and not in 8 months' time. So that means we have information ready as and when you need it. So what's really important? Number one, technology and apps. Number two, working with accountants who understand how to fully utilize them. And three is the clients. That's as important as well. So what it's about is, yes, compliance, but two, for me, it's about delivering on being able to advise clients where their business is going. If you see them taking a wrong turn, to be able to be proactive and reach out to them before they make and commit to that turn. Neil, what's your take on what a modern accounting firm business service should be or look like today?
For me, it's about relationships, and I think you can only get a good relationship with someone if you are in touch with them more than once a year. and I don't mean twice a year, but maybe like once a month at least. So for me, I predominantly use Zero, as most people know. I'm on the blue side of the fence, but like it works in very, very similar ways, right? In terms of information capture, in terms of how we work, the kind of the processes, the procedures, and like I just referenced the VAT return. Like we will, when we come up to a VAT return period, and we tend to get most VAT returns done within about a week or two of the quarter end, which means there's still 3 weeks in order to pay it. So like, and we know what that number is as an estimate on day one, because all of the information is in real time. If the bookkeeping's up to date, which most times it is, sometimes it's not. Most of the time, it's not our fault. There could be documents that are waiting to be classified, etc., etc. So, there's no sort of blame culture. It's just that some clients are larger than others and require a bit more work, and therefore it might be 2-3 weeks for completion as opposed to 1 or 2 weeks. But like I don't know, because I've always used cloud software. I went straight onto Zero. I actually started on QuickBooks. Don't tell anyone. I actually started on QuickBooks for the first month of the business, and I found their customer service to be atrocious. And then I kind of dipped my toe with the Zero, and their customer onboarding team or success team, whatever they were called, were just so much more friendly. So that would have been like October, November 2019. So like even when I was still in a job, I went over to Zero. So I don't really know. Whilst I've heard the stories of paper receipts and boxes of receipts and shoe boxes and kind of all the historic ways, we've never actually actively practiced them in the business. We've always been digital focused, whether it's Zero or QuickBooks or a free agent or something similar equivalent. But kind of like some of the case studies that we've got. So in terms of one client came to us. They were extracting, 2 directors, recruitment agency. They were extracting like 100 grand each from the business just because they wanted the money. There's no real strategy towards that. It was just that the money was there, so why not take it? And then when we kind of alluded them to the tax implications of that, and this was the following financial year, so we had an opportunity to kind of show them what the current year was going to look like before we got to the end of the year. Well, we can only do that if we've got real-time information. So automatically they were like, well, okay, we'll just take 50k each, I think was the number at the time. And they saved themselves what I think was about like 18 or 19 grand of tax each. We spotted some VAT errors where things were duplicated, again because everything was systemized, and we did a lot of cross-checking between a couple of different systems that they used. So very difficult to do that if you're on paper, very difficult to do that if you're looking at it after the fact. We saved, there's some duplicate invoices on there, so we saved them some money on VAT, but we also saved them some money on corporation tax because they were duplicating, they were overstating their sales figures. So and this is just one client, right? I mean, like we've got so many other situations where somebody wants to hire a member of staff in 6 months, or maybe they want to buy a company car, or maybe they want to invest in something, or create a new sales channel, or whatever that looks like, but something future based. We've got as much information right now up to the current day that we can say, well, we can determine if there's seasonality in the business, if there's any peaks and troughs in terms of trends, both income and expenses, and say, well, this is what the next 6 to 12 months could look like if we've done something similar to the last 6 to 12 months. And automatically they know exactly when they could potentially hire someone, but what the revenue and cost implications of hiring somebody could look like. So they've got a plan that they can work against. Very difficult to do that if you're doing 18-month-old numbers, kind of 9 months after the year end, and it's all historic, there's no value there, and they're more than halfway through the next financial year, in which that's going to be reported in another 18 months time. So but I think it all goes down to relationships. I think because you can offer that hand holding, because you can offer all the information, it's all in real time, it kind of opens their eyes in terms of what is possible from a reporting point of view, and I think that just weds clients closer to us, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I can agree and echo everything that you're saying there. Because I maybe it's just the background that we're coming from, like that industry focus. It's like you're constantly making sure that you've got a goal or objective or a plan in the future, and you want to make sure that the business is performing to that plan. And the only way to measure that, the scorecard, is your accounts. Okay. So it's like going to a football match, right? Imagine there was no scoreboard at a football match and nobody's keeping score. How would you know if you're winning or losing, or you're having a draw during the game, or by the end of the game? You don't. So stop thinking of your accounts as this bloody pain in the backside task that you need to do every year and hand it over to somebody, and somebody, the accountant's going to do something with it. Start seeing it as your scorecard. All right, is the business winning or losing? And if it's losing, ask your accountant what they can do or recommend to bring you back on par with where you need to be. So, like, we got some really good tools. So Neil's mentioned Zero. He should have sticking with QuickBooks, but anyway, he's kind of made his bed. He can lie in it now. That's fine. We all do that. But we've other tools.
Come on,
to help,
Clive. Come on. Let's not get into this again.
It's okay. We all know Zero just put up the prices this week again. But anyway, that's fine. What I was going to say to you, yeah. So another real cool tool that we use here is called Dex, and it's an app that our clients can use. And what they can do is, if they're out and they're buying coffee, or I don't know, maybe they're getting diesel for the company car, they can open up their Dex app. They can just take a picture of that, and that receipt then you can chuck it in the bin because we've got a digital copy. So this allows us to do, as Neil saying, our bookkeeping in a very efficient way. And it means that when we got clients like this week, client emails and goes, what's our tax bill likely to be for September 2025? And because two things, because we're doing the bookkeeping in real time, and because they're really good at giving information as and when you need it, you're able to give them the answer within an hour. No problem. Not only are you able to give them an answer within an hour, you're also able to give them a template or a report that says, look, if we complete this each month for the rest of the year to the end of December, we'll be able to exactly measure and know what your tax liability is that's going to be payable in September next year. So right now, as each month goes by to September, they know what they have to pay in September next year. So that's over a year ahead. That's what we're saying about what modern accounting is. And as Neil points out, if you want to hire somebody, you want to buy a new asset, have we got the cash flow? Do we need additional funds? Like, for example, I used to do 3-month rolling forecast cash flow in the company I worked for. Do we need funds within the next 13 weeks? Okay, so it's all about forward thinking, but using accountants who can help you with that while delivering on the compliance side of things as well. Okay.
Can I just say, there was a question that came in the Making Finance Fun Facebook group. I think it was yesterday or this morning, and I'm just gonna read it out because I think it's quite topical based on what we're saying at the moment. So it's from Joanna. It says, my question is, can a modern accountant help their self-employed clients form a weekly, monthly, annual budget, or is that service reserved for business advisors? Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Delighted that somebody's even asking that question. First of all, your accountants are really important to your success, and they can help you build those forecasts out. And like as Neil said earlier on, the relationship is key. If we're having more conversations throughout the year with you, there's a greater chance that we understand you and your business and both your personal and your business goals. So we're probably the best placed people to help you build those weekly, monthly, or quarterly forecasts for you. And then the key thing is, right now we got where we want to be, we got to measure how close we are on track to getting there. And that's where the real-time bookkeeping comes into play. So if we're off track, we can then have another conversation about what we need to do to get back on track. So that's a great question, and absolutely modern accounting and accounting services can help you with that.
If you're using somebody that sticks to the shoebox of receipts and invoices once a year, the chances are they're probably not going to be able to offer that service because, well, I mean, in my opinion, they would have been offering it already. The fact that they're working with you in that kind of antiquated way would probably suggest that they haven't got the tech or the skills to deliver a forecast. And you might have to go to a business advisor or a coach or, kind of someone in that sort of area to help you. But guys like Clive and I that use the tech, that talk to clients all the time and work in real time, 100%. That's absolutely bread and butter for us.
Yeah, I think as well as that, what we can also do that I don't see traditional accounting businesses do at the minute is actually help you streamline your operations within your business. Okay. So the reason when I worked in industry, the reason why I liked working with operations people is because what they do had a value, a monetary value. Okay. And by working with them, you could see what the monetary impact of what they were doing was. Okay. So helping existing clients streamline what they do, their processes, adds value back to them because we're saving them time ultimately. But the secondary benefit is better information. So I've had a client, right, which to this day I remember, it drives me bananas. This client was with a cloud accounting practice. They ran two retail shops. They were on QuickBooks Online and still are. And they had an EPOS till. And at the end of every month, they would do up their Excel sheet. They would send that Excel sheet to their cloud accounting accountants, and they would manually enter in a journal to capture the sales and the VAT. Right. So I said to them, right, let's just connect the till to QuickBooks and let it automatically happen. After a month, the client came back and said, Clive, this is brilliant. I'm saving about 5 hours a week, an hour a day. I don't have to do my end of day totals and make sure it's all in QuickBooks. It just happens. I do my end of day reconciliations. Yes, have I got the cash and the till numbers agreeing? But apart from that, it's just simple. It flows. It's brilliant. And we do that for other clients as well. We had an e-commerce client who had eBay Ireland, eBay Worldwide, Amazon UK, Amazon EU, had the website sales, had 5 different revenue channels, as well as Stripe, direct debits, and PayPal. What we did is we amalgamated all that into one system. And now it's saving her hours and hours a month. And all she now has to focus is not on entering the information, but reconciling the information. So a last example of that is a photocopying business, sells photocopiers and print. They are able to now see how many prints each photocopier does on a monthly basis. That goes into a piece of software that does the billing, and that billing gets shoot into QuickBooks and automatically sent to their clients. I think I've spoken about this one before, but that's saving her 2 days a month or 24 days a year. So that's incredible that as a modern accountants, we can help you sometimes where the opportunities arise to streamline those systems for you as well.
So
Okay.
I think kind of moving on from that slightly, but kind of almost related, is all around the financial planning piece. So, I've talked about hiring staff, company car, that's all relatively business orientated, but it's the personal aspects as well, which are like super important. And I know live here today, my financial advisor, Rich, was watching earlier. I don't know if he is now. Hello, Rich, if you are. We work as a great partnership because I don't know, or I know enough, but I'm not regulated to give pensions advice. There's certain things investment wise that are kind of out of my wheelhouse, but they all relate to the personal aspect of a client, and it could be, I don't know, it could be to do with property, estate planning, inheritance. It could be pensions. It could be looking towards retirement. It could be looking at exiting the business maybe. And there's different levers that we can pull as accountants to help understand the financial picture and to give the ammunition for the financial advisor or the financial planner to say, look, this is the second part of the power team to kind of give that advice. And I think that's like super powerful because again, financial advisors will, I don't know, someone like Rich may want to kind of clarify, but Rich is really proactive with his clients. I'm one of his clients, and he's also got quite a lot of his clients that are my clients that we've referred to each other. And I know his style. I know that he's really engaging. I know he really cares, which is like, again, super important. It's not just a number in his client list. It's a name. It's a family. It's he really cares. And he's always looking forwards to the future. He cares about what's happened in the past, of course he does, but it's more about the future. Like, what are your goals and aims? Where do you want to get to? What house do you want? What car do you want? How many holidays do you want? Like, what do you want your kids to do? Are they going to go to university? Like, when do you want to retire? All of those questions that he can like properly answer, but he can only really answer that to the best of his ability if he's got an accountant by the side that can feed him that real time information to say, well, yeah, these numbers aren't 18 months out of date. This is what's happening right now, and this is the trajectory of where things might go in the next year or two. I think that's on that personal side. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And again, it just points down to the fact that what's really important for business and business owners is the real time information, okay, and the future visibility and the opportunities to plan. That forward momentum. I was reading reading it again. I'm still reading it. The EMET Revisited by Michael Gerber. And he talks about that a majority of businesses fail in the first 5 years because they're stuck in this 9 to 5 technician job and not being that role of a business owner. And a key point he makes about being a successful business owner that goes far beyond the 5 years is that a business owner is constantly thinking of where will we be in 12 months' time? And it's the business owner side of you, and you put that hat on you that's always thinking of what does the next year look like? And how do we shape the business to be like that? What's the next 3 years, 5 years, and so on? And they're the ones that are successful. And they're the guys that really appreciate the value of real time information. And they're the ones that really work hard on making sure you have all that you need to do to make that happen. And then allows those conversations to flourish with your financial advisor, with your accountant, and then make sure that your 3 5 year plan is what drives what you do today. So we're not talking a lot about compliance here. We're talking a lot about future planning, and that to me is what it's all about. Like here, right? When we have a discovery call with a potential new client, one of the first questions we always ask is a holistic approach. What do you want? Right? Because a lot of people come and say, I have a business, I need a bookkeeper. Right, okay, that may be fair enough, but you're the business owner, right? So what do you want out of all of this? Where do you see yourself, And you quickly kind of open up a can of worms with, they go, oh, I never really thought about that. I'm just trying to make a living day to day. Okay, if that's going to be the status quo for the next couple of years, then okay, if you're not improving, you're actually going to go backwards. So we try to tease that out first of all. I think that's really important is to focus on the lifestyle end of things and the personal elements, and then work your way back. So you go, where do you want to be in 3 years' time? What does your life need to look like? Or what does your life look like then? And what does your business need to look like then in order to give you that lifestyle? And that's really important. That's all down to planning, which all comes back to real time information, which all comes back to really good bookkeeping, which all comes back to working with the right type of accountants who want to help you get to their goals. So yeah, it's a funny concept, and it's just again we need to try and break through and communicate what type of service we deliver and how we help. Okay, I think that's really really important, and break this traditional compliance first approach. It's important, absolutely. Yeah, but building that lifestyle as a business owner, you're taking all the risk, you should be getting all the rewards. So it's very important to work with the right people to help you deliver that. And as Neil said, the relationship is probably extremely important in
I,
helping
I
you achieve
think I
that as
think if
well.
you ask most business owners, that could be us included. Like, what is the single most important thing about your business? Probably 9 times out of 10, people will say their clients, right? But without you as a person, and you could argue your team, if you're a bigger business and any kind of further extension of that, but inherently, it's if you're the business owner, without you, business can't run, or without you, if you're the face of the business, the clients might not like someone else. So clients might be the most important thing that you think, but actually it is you, isn't it? At the end of the day, and I was talking to someone last night about kind of why am I doing what why am I doing what I'm doing, and what's the end goal, and where do I want to be in 5 years? Like, how big do I want the business to be? How many people? What revenue? So I don't have the answer to any of those questions whatsoever, but really you should do. There should be milestones. There should be kind of gateposts that say, well, I wanna do this and I wanna do that, and then set yourself realistic aims and goals that you can then, like you said before, kind of tracking against. Like set a year forecast, set a year budget, and then month by month as you go through the year, like review what you've done against what you said you would do, and if you're behind or ahead, then you can either work harder if you're behind, or if you're ahead, then you can learn from what you've done and just try and maximize that. But I think, yeah, deep down, I think it's about the individual of the business, because if they're not happy, then and I said it like a few weeks ago. I said, in terms of the three things that you need to do, you need to be insanely passionate about what you do. You've got to be really good at it, and then you've got to tell everyone about it. Well, it's all very well and good being good at something and telling people about it, and you're generating really good business, and numbers are great and all that. But if you're not passionate about it, or if you're not happy, then it's not going to last very long.
Absolutely. So, what your key takeaways here, folks, um, is think about you first and what you want. Think about what the business needs to look like in order to help you get that lifestyle. All right. So, what's your lifestyle goals? What does the business goals need to be to match that? I had this phrase, I can't remember it off the top of my tongue. It was something like vision leads to goals, goals leads to objectives, objectives leads to milestones, milestones lead to your weekly tasks, or something along those lines. So you kind of start with the end in mind. I think, as well as that, it's also a good opportunity when you're working with modern accountants to focus on how you can future proof, excuse me, future proof your business, because, like, when you're in business, you're also dealing with unpredictable, you know, uh, variables, whether it's the economy, whether it's pricing, whether it's customers, whether it's suppliers. You just don't know what's ahead of you. So, again, helping that planning and forecasting section will help kind of like your business be robust, be flexible, agile to any of those changing conditions that were in the market as well. And it's just about mitigating risk, and just constantly little steps to improve the business, and so that if shock does appear, that you're well ready for it and can ride it out in probably a more successful way than other businesses who haven't planned ahead. So I think future proofing your business is another very good reason why this is ever so important with this modern type of accounting services we help clients
Two
with.
things. I've got two things that I do every single time I make a decision within the business. Number one, it has to improve the levels of our client service. That's like fundamental. If it doesn't do that, we don't do it. Quite simple. And number two, every single decision that I make is working towards an exit for the business. And that exit could be in 5 years, it could be 10, it could be 20 years. An example of that would be the practice management system we just spoken about. Now, I know how it works, but I could have quite easily have led with that project, done all of the migration work myself, and just given a bit of training to the team, and just said kind of crack on with it. But I didn't do that. I gave that project to another member of the team, and he's now the super user of that system, right? That tool. And the reason why I've done that is, number one, it's going to heighten our client service. Absolutely, it will do. I've already mentioned about the pros of it having a client portal, and that you can get on your phone, and it's just, the UI is amazing, and there's just so many better things for our clients. So it's absolutely going to deliver on a better service. And number two, because I've not done the project, we've got another member of the team that's the super user, which means that if I get ill, or if I want to exit the business, then that bit of the business, that thing, can just like operate entirely without me being there. The knowledge is within the team, especially with the super user, but again, the rest of the team know. So I think, when you look at clients, and when you think, okay, if you can adopt that mentality to say, every single decision for a client, no matter what business or industry they're in, like, to have those two principles, then getting a modern accountant, number one, will absolutely heighten your client service, because the financial admin will be easier to deal with. It'll be more effective. It will be more efficient. You will have more tools to make better decisions to better serve your clients in real time. rather than waiting. And let's say if we're going back to that example of hiring a member of staff, like if you've got a retail shop, for example, and you don't quite know how you're doing on the bottom line in terms of your profits, chances are if you hired a member of staff in 18 months' time, then great, that will reduce your capacity. You might be a bit happier. But you might have been able to hire that member of staff 6, 9, 12 months previous if you had the correct information to hand. And if you'd have done that, then maybe the customer service experience may be better because there's now two people in the shop rather than the one. And that would then obviously free up your time far, in advance of when you were planning to do it in a year's time, in that example. So, that would, getting a modern accountant would just absolutely deliver better client service and experience. And also from an exit strategy point of view, which is the other point, outsource it all. Like if it's all in your head as a business owner and you want to sell that business, like all the nuances, all the things that are bespoke, all of the highs and lows, the itty bitty bits and pieces, like it's just you're just never gonna convey that properly, and your business as a result will be less marketable. If you have an outsourced partner that does all of your financial admin, whether it's all of your compliance, it could be your payroll as well, it could be your bookkeeping, your accounts. I mean, ideally for people like Clive and I, that could be one person, one accountant that can do all of that. You might have a separate bookkeeper to an accountant, but somebody that can kind of like systemize everything for you, digital kind of capture of receipts and invoices, like that business therefore becomes more marketable because you can step away from that business, and from a structural point of view, someone else can just come in and work with that accountant, and it will work like it did before. So I think those are two principles that I always think and ask myself whenever I have a decision to make. And if it doesn't fit one of these two things, I just don't do it. So yeah, getting a modern accountant, I think, in my opinion, I will be biased because I'm like to think of myself as a modern accountant, but I cannot see any kind of negative connotations of doing that. The one that often crops up is cost, because a guy like us or a girl like us, we're going to be probably more expensive than potentially a really kind of antiquated dinosaur accountant. But I bet your bottom dollar we'll be able to find you more tax savings than the old timer, and therefore, probably offset our fees easily. So I always say think of it as an investment rather than a cost. But apart from that slight downside, I think most of the time it's pretty much a done deal.
Yeah, I put in my kind of like brochure and stuff like your finance partner, because that's what it is. The relationship here is to work shoulder to shoulder, not face to face, and that relationship is really important because, as I said, in the last episode or the previous episode, we probably, as accountants, probably care more about your business than we do our bloody own business too. Um, but I was just thinking when you were saying that, Neil. I was just thinking, like, as I said, I used to work closely with the operations guys. I suppose it's funny. Like, I've no experience of what accountants in practice who have stayed in practice all their career is like, but I know when you're in industry, you become like the problem solver, right? You like to get involved with how things work and how the process flow works, whether it's physical information or whatever it is. But yeah, it's more than just being an accountant. Yeah, it's been that. I know the hashtag is trusted advisor because that's a broad net to cover. He's an accountant, he's a business advisor, he's a coach, he's a mentor, whatever it may be. It's not. It's very hard. It's not an accounting service anymore. Accounting is at the core, but it's a bigger branch than that. It is looking at your processes, it's looking at your holistic views, it's looking at forward planning as well. But you, the clients, are really important to the success of that, and that can't be vocalized any louder because ultimately those, and Neil mentioned about the fees thing. But what I say to that is those who get maximum value are those who put in the most, and those who get it and understand it and work with it. They're actually, yeah, they like. I've had a client going, I'd happily pay you more because of the value that you're giving back to me is incredible, you know. But I have to admit, the work that they're putting into it as well is incredible. So how much you get out of this also depends on how much you put into it as well, and we can help you with that end of things. So look, we've a lot of good success stories. That's brilliant. It's just, yeah, it's just, to me, it's just what we do. It's just to be helpful. It's to kind of be that guide, that coach, that accountant, that trusted person who helps you with your numbers. I think more people should be doing the same as well, and I think businesses themselves would be in a stronger, more robust, better position to grow, to succeed, to have happier lives, happier teams. I just think it makes sense in my mind to continue down this road. You know,
We
so
as an
yeah,
industry, can do and should do better. Really, I get people that are maybe coming up to retirement, and we've got MTD specifically here within the UK, but we've got the government digitizing everything, making things more digitally accessible for things like tax returns. I get that some people might not want to go down that path if they're coming up to retirement, but these aren't just people coming up to retirement that I see that are practicing in that kind of old school way. This happens in the majority of handovers that we see, and it ain't good enough. It really isn't. So we will put a stop to it. I guarantee it.
actually, just something that came to mind when we did the road show there in Dublin. Kevin Barry, who did it, co-hosted with me, he said, if accounting businesses, if the dinosaur accountants and the traditional practices don't change, your clients are now changing at a quicker rate than you're adapting to. So if you don't do it, your clients will take that decision off your hands and do it for you. And they will do that by going and working with a different accounting firm. So that's kind of where we're at. And look, there's opportunities there for everybody. There's so many businesses and so many people that need help, you know. So look, that's it. That's kind of like where we're at. That's what a take on what a modern accounting business or accountants are so focused on, and how the services that we provide are primarily aimed at. It's that kind of real time bookkeeping into business advisory and forward planning approach. It's to help you and your business ultimately succeed. You know. So Neil, have you any final thoughts on that before we wrap it up and we get on to the fun part at the end of the show here?
I think it was a good summary, mate. Yeah, it seems to be a conversation that I keep parroting to a lot of people. And did I mention last week that, or a couple of weeks ago, that I'm speaking at ZeroCon in a couple of weeks? That'd be really interesting. My talk, I've not announced it yet, so I don't know if I meant to or not. I'm talking at ZeroCon about delivering customer service excellence. Is a topic that I hold really, really strong. People that know me know that I have a genuine interest in wanting to forge relationships, want clients to do. If clients win, we win. That's the cynical way of
Yeah.
looking at it, but I genuinely care, and I've got massive respect and impetus in our local community to want to do better, and we can do better. So no, it's good, mate. No, I really enjoyed this today. Been awesome.
Now, we should have announced this at the start of the podcast or that, but what we tried to do in making finance fun is put a little tingle or a spin. And we've kind of been challenging each other for the last couple of weeks on different topics. So we said we'd keep this up and keep going. So this week, we're going to talk about TLAs. So what are TLAs? Well, they are three-letter acronyms, okay? Because I am now fed up of my 14-year-old texting me three-letter words at a time. And because I'm not a Generation Z or whatever that phrase is, I don't understand the foggiest of what he's talking about. So, Neil, I have a small challenge for you. Today we are going to go through business TLAs and to see if you can know or tell me what they are. Now, bear in mind, this is making finance fun, so there's going to be a slight change to the answers. Right, are you ready?
Okay.
All right, okay. So these might be a little bit silly and a bit wacky, but nonetheless, let's give it a go. And listen, if you're listening live, please type in what you think the answers are as well. And if you're listening on the replay or on Facebook, wherever it is, throw in the answers anyway. Okay, right. OMG. OMG, Neil, what do you think OMG business term means?
It's oh my god is the normal one, yeah.
Absolutely, but in business, that's the official meeting gaff. That's the place where everybody comes together. I think it's called the watering hole, where the water dispenser is, or the tea and the coffee pot. So official meeting gaff. So if
I
you're
thought
in
I
the
thought
office and you're
I thought a gaff was like an error. Like if you've done a
oh
gaff, then it's like a
ah
mistake or an error. Is that not
okay
what it is?
nah yeah, Genie Mac, got to be careful about the lingo here. Gaff is a place, a house. You come on over to my
Okay,
gaff.
okay,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Right,
I get you now.
let's move on from that.
Good start.
EOD. What does EOD stand for in business terms?
End of discussion. Yeah, how
Yeah,
about that?
yeah. Because most people think it's end of day, unless you're that TikTok guy who thinks it's
End
end
of
of
day.
December and gets his ass kicked in his Zoom meeting for not understanding that EOD is end of day,
I was,
but it could be also end of
yeah.
discussion.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Um, Yawn. Was it YAW? YAW. That's a hard one. I haven't heard of that one before.
What does that mean anyway? Like in text message lingo.
Yeah, I don't know, but it says here in the answer book, yet another webinar. So yeah.
That's definitely a
I know
COVID
it's a bit,
thing, right? Like death by
yeah,
Zoom.
maybe. Right, the
DBZ
next one I
maybe.
got is NAP, NAP, NAP. Like these are
Nap.
bananas. NAP, NAP. Like it's ridiculous. Will I go for it?
Go on.
Not another project. Not another project. Oh, he's away for a nap. He's away for another project. I don't know. Some of these are just stupid, like, you know. But thank God to my friend ChatGPT.
What about lol?
SOS.
Oh, go on. SOS. I want to try and trying to attach it to something finance related. Like SOS could be save our system. Or oh no, that's really rubbish.
Could be, yeah.
Go on.
Right. Send out snacks.
Okay.
Like, do you know what? I think what we'll do here, right? I think is we'll publish these to the Facebook group, all right? And we'll ask people to adopt these as their new three-letter acronyms for the office environment, all right? And let it become the new buzzwords across Ireland and the UK within offices.
Because like
And everybody,
some of them I've not heard of before. Like lol, I've heard of LOL. But some of these other ones that you've been mentioning, I don't even know what they mean in normal text lingo,
yeah,
let alone.
yeah. So like LOL here, LOL is lack of leadership. Right?
Okay.
What's what's the other one? What's another good one? R. ARG, another rough guide. Jesus. TEA, totally evasive answer. I'm so glad I don't work in an office environment anymore.
So I say TMI a little bit, too much information. I say that a fair bit, but yeah, in a business context, you could have too many ideas or something, or too.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
sounds.
that would work quite well with me because everyone asks me if I've done something, and I've not because I've always gone on to the next thing because I've got an idea that comes up in my head. So that's probably quite apt for me.
I'm happy, guys, to copy these out and we'll stick them up on the Facebook groups and you can have a good old laugh and be brave enough to use these in your office environment or your work environment and confuse the bejesus out of everybody that's around you. So, BFF, budget finally finished. That's a finance
Oh,
one, isn't it?
that's all right. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
BFF.
we could run
Yeah,
with that. Some of them are okay, actually.
yeah.
Bob, boss over back. I don't understand that one. Oh my god, end of day. FOM, fear of meetings. Oh, here's a good one. MMM, Monday morning misery.
See,
Well,
we don't
look
ha-
at it's
we
Friday.
don't have that because we love what we do, and
Yeah.
I genuinely look forward to Sunday evenings, Monday mornings because it's the start of a new week, new challenges, new people to work with. I used to
Look at
hate
that.
Sunday evenings. I used to wake up at Monday on like 6:30, 7 o'clock and go, oh, I've got like a half an hour train into Bristol to go to a job that I kind of liked, but some of the people I worked with were just idiots, and I was like, oh god, I used to get that
Yeah.
real trepidation feeling on a Sunday night, thinking, oh god, I've got another 5 days of this now. I don't have that anymore. It's amazing.
We won't have it this Monday because in Ireland it's a bank holiday weekend for us. I know you had yours last weekend, but we're
We
having
did.
ours now this weekend. So let's see if we can cut off the day around 4 o'clock. My hometown in Carrick Cross is having a festival, so the whole place has got like taken over with music. And I think there's an AC/DC tribute band on Saturday night for all you heavy metal rockers out
Oh,
there.
amazing!
Um,
Take some video of
yeah.
that. I'd love to see that. That'd be amazing. We'll
I'll
play it
take
live on the
video.
next episode.
It'd be like 10 seconds long as I run away.
What?
What?
Not
It's
a
like
fan
I
of
like two
AC/DC?
AC/DC songs. I can't even hear the music anymore. I'm
I
getting
tell
too
you what,
old.
mate.
I need
I
hearing
tell
aids.
I tell you what. If you like two AC/DC songs, you probably like every AC/DC song because they follow a pattern.
Yeah, yeah. I'll give them. I'll give them another go. I'll give them another go. I'm on Teddy Smith at the minute, listening to his stuff. Let me
Oh.
see. Let me see. Where are we at in this bloody thing? I lost track of all the things
What are
altogether. Right, so
we?
let's do a quick recap.
Go on. Go on.
Well, no, just a quick recap. So today was just about looking at how modern accountants are helping their clients and existing clients. Remember, we're forward thinking, but real time information, bookkeeping. But you guys, the clients, are key to success in all of this. Okay, and some good points there from Neil. That relationship is you'll find is greater. We've got more we call touch points, as in connecting with you more often than not. Compared to the design sort of traditional type of accountancy firms. And I now have a list of 20 three-letter acronyms for you to use in the world of business. So if you hear them, that's my fault, okay? What else have we got, Neil?
What we I don't think we've got a date for the next episode. Have we got some thoughts about what we're going to talk about in the next episode?
Yeah, there is so much we could do. And I think if anyone's listening back on this, please drop comments in to the message boxes or message us directly. Anything that you guys want covered, because we could talk about all sorts of different things, but we want to make this important and relevant to you guys. So whether that's wealth creation through pensions or planning, whether it's marketing and pricing, whether it's customer service and delivering services, whatever it may be, please, it's as important to you as it is to us. Drop it into the comments. Neil, we could do so much more. We could talk about tech in business and how you can utilize that. We could talk about marketing for small businesses. We could talk about how the directors can start their wealth plan today by setting up pensions and how to make that tax efficient as well. A double bonus. Or we could get on to Stephen Barlett from the Diary of a CEO and see if he wants to come on the show and part some of his wisdom to us as well.
Well, I might throw up a poll in the Facebook group, and then we'll see with a few different topics that we've come up with, and probably a few more besides, and say, look, what do people want to kind of hear first? And I know we were talking about getting some guests on for interviews, so there's a few people that have. Well, I say a few. There's probably about 6 or 7 people that I know of that have asked to come on and talk about their specialism. So we might do that in the near future. We might have a guest on and grill them instead, and we'll do something challenge based at the end with them as well, so that they can
That would
screw
be
them
brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But don't tell them, right?
No, I won't tell them what. I'll just say there'll be something humorous at the end. But yeah, we won't give any
Absolutely,
hints.
right. Right. Okay. So that's it, folks. Thank you very much. We're just over the hour. We really appreciate if you've joined live. Again, drop that hashtag live in there or hashtag replay in the comments so we can know who's watching and how often, and we can build this around you guys. So that's it for today. Have a good weekend. It's bank holiday. I'm off here to find some craft beer and a barbecue, hopefully. Yep, the weather's looking good. Neil, any plans for the weekend before you go?
I might fly my drone this afternoon because it looks pretty nice out there at the moment. So I might get the drone up in the evening and take some more sunset pictures. My son has got a football tournament that starts at 8:30 tomorrow morning. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I might be seeing my new nephew, which would be quite cool. Who's 2 weeks
Oh,
old, so that'd
congratulations.
be really nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's excellent. All right, folks, thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Catch you later.
Bye bye.